Well, here we are. I'm Tom Osman, and this is Whatever Comes Next. It's the podcast where I explore the world of underground and independent music making. And on today's episode, I am talking with singer-vocalist Anouk from Dirty Shades, an alternative rock band from France, from a city, in fact, that I can't pronounce. So I'm going to leave it up to her to do that for me in the interview. The band is going to be releasing their debut full-length Stuck in Motion on October the 25th, and that's going to be coming out on Modular Records. The album will be available to stream on Spotify, but if you would like to have yourself a physical copy, you can get the album on CD or vinyl. That will be sold from the record label. I'll put links in the description. From everything that I've seen so far, everything's in French. But there we are. It's a French band. Something that we didn't actually talk about in the interview is the music videos of the band, and they do have some quite cool videos for two or three of the songs. I think two songs have come out as singles from the album, and I was keen to talk to members of the band, and I was keen to promote this because having listened to the album, I just think it's really great, and I think more people should hear it. It's that kind of band where, like, I wouldn't say that the style is anything so strange. Like I say, you could call them alternative rock, but it's just one of these bands where the sound that they've got and the music that they write, the melodies are just really satisfying, powerful songwriting. They've got great hooks. Anouk is a great vocalist. She can sing quite beautifully, and then when she decides to do so, she really can roar with some extraordinary power. So yeah, I really enjoy this music. The rest of the band is great too. They're really great musicians, and there's a great flow to this record. I think in full on the album there are 6 tracks, and so they tend to evolve and progress over the course of 5 or 6 or 7 minutes. Really, really well done, well constructed music, and very well produced too. So there you are. That's my little pitch for Stuck in Motion. I'm going to play one of the tracks from the album at the end of the interview. I'm going to play a little clip before. If you want to follow the band, they are most active on Instagram, where they are Dirty Shades Band. As I mentioned, they're also on Spotify. They are on Facebook as Dirty Shades Official. They're also on YouTube, where you can see their music videos as Dirty Shades Music. The band is going to have a couple of shows coming up around about the release dates. I will put links to that in the description. And if you would like to follow me, I'm on all social media at Tom Osman Sounds. If you want to check out my music, go to tomosmansounds.com. And I believe now there is nothing more to be said, but Anouk from Dirty Shades, take it away. Tom, nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Anouk.
Anouk. When I'm talking to people from different countries or like non-English speaking countries, there's always a bigger possibility I will pronounce people's names and pronounce the names of places incorrectly. So maybe rather than me trying to say it, you can tell me where you're from, because it's not a part of France that I'm familiar with.
So our band has been formed in a town called Angoulême.
Mm-hmm.
It's like near Bordeaux.
Okay.
And near Cognac.
So I guess cognac is connected to the drink. That's, if you want to make cognac, it has to be made in this place.
Just like Bordeaux with the wine.
Yeah. So this town that you're from, I had a look online and it said like there's 42,000 people there. Um, I guess it's technically a city,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So have you always lived there and have all of the band always lived there?
We kind of live around it in smaller town and village,
Mm.
like 3,000 inhabitants, 3,000 people live there.
Uh-huh.
And we started all in the music school.
Yeah.
There was a music school in our region. And so we know each other since we were like 12 or 14 or 13 for the most part, because the bass player is my brother.
Yes.
So I've known him for like forever. And the guitar player and the drum player, their parents are together now.
Oh,
So
right.
they're
Okay.
like half brother, so brother-in-law. I don't know how to say it, but something like that.
And this was like, this happened after they became friends. Is that right?
I think the parents met each other while waiting for their children to get out of music class. Something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is, the whole thing is quite familial between the whole
Yeah,
band.
yeah. But I think I would like to say that we are very, very close. Thanks
Yeah.
to that, we know each other. We know each other for like maybe 20 years now. Yes, maybe no, maybe less because we are younger members. 10 years. 10 years is correct. We know
Yeah.
each other for 10 years.
So the band is Dirty Shades, and
Yes,
your first album, Stuck in Motion, is going to
yes.
be coming out on October the 25th on Modular Music, I think is the name of the label. Is that right?
Yeah, it's not our label, it's just distributor,
Yeah.
just the platform that put it on the internet, like Spotify, Deezer, and stuff like that.
Yeah. I
And
see.
it will push our release to be on playlist. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not like a label, but it's something. It's really
Yeah.
something.
A facilitator, I guess.
Yes,
They
we
get you
could
to
say that.
places.
Yeah.
So I know that you've had a couple of releases before. You had an EP a couple of years ago. I think actually you've had two EPs, right? You had one in 2020 and one in 2022, like one live EP maybe and another EP. Is that right?
Yeah, the first one, we are not very proud of it, no. We were kind of young and our music was very still in the egg.
Yep.
And we always had a difficulty to translate our live show into studio
Mm,
because we were always very vibrant in live settings,
yeah.
and we never quite reached this level of vibrancy. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
that word
Yep.
in studio settings. And so for our second opus, we wanted to have something a lot more, um, how could I say this? A lot more us, a lot more easier to translate what we want to put out there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember reading in the press release that the live part for the band was very important.
Yeah,
So thinking about approaching the album that's just coming out, which I love, by the way. I've been listening to it. I think it's
thank you.
great.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan. I mean, I only talk to people whose music I like, but of course, everyone likes to get some compliments sometimes. So
Yeah,
it's
it's always
it's
nice.
it's really really cool. Yeah, I love the. It's not just about variety. Like there's a flow through the records. You've got these six songs, and I guess they're kind of like from about 4 to 7 minutes. Maybe there's something a
Yeah,
bit shorter, but it's that kind of
yeah, that's it.
range.
Yeah,
And they tend to evolve even within the tracks. And then between the tracks, I think there's a really nice evolution as well. You've got some parts that are very kind of powerful and even sort of aggressive in parts. And then you've got these other bits which are kind of more soothing. So I really like the progression of the record through these different phases. It flows very nicely as a record. Um, and your singing as well is great.
thank you.
And I mean, the playing of everyone is great, but that is one of the things that stands out is your singing on the record. What came first for you, singing or playing guitar?
I think singing. I learned guitar quite early on. I started with saxophone, and when I was something
Interesting.
like 14 or 13, I started guitar. And from the moment I started guitar, there was a kind of band practice,
Mm.
our music school, but like rock band practice, and they needed a singer, and that's how I started it. That's how I started to sing. And I just like 1 year ago started to take vocal class because I wanted to expand what I could do and what I translate and what I could say with my voice and I wanted to be in total control of what I wanted to put out there.
Yep.
So I always like to sing, but I think I started guitar playing, and then because it was a necessity, I started to sing. And then I found out that what I truly love is to sing.
Yeah, interesting. And there's a thing that you do, and I guess there's a lot of singers that do this, but it always impresses me when I hear it. And certain people come to mind, like, I don't know if these are like particularly relevant reference points for you, but there's an American singer called Julie Christmas who used to be in a band called Made Out of Babies.
I think someone talked to me about her. I never listened to her, but
She's got
that's
this thing that she does. Maybe like Bjork might be another person I could talk about, where they kind of like will go through registers and they'll like sing in a very powerful way. And sometimes it's like the voice will crack, or they'll sort of be like, it sounds very emotional, but it doesn't go all over the place. You know, like if you just hear someone shout,
yeah.
it's like it can do all kinds of funny things, but it's like sort of hearing this element that sort of feels like it's out of control, but it's in control at the same time. So
It's like controlled chaos.
control chaos, yeah. So like I felt there were moments of that on the album, and I was thinking to myself just now, like, is that something that came out from having singing lessons, or was that more something you discovered? You're like, oh wow, I can do this. It was just kind of organically there.
No, because I think we recorded this album before I started my vocal lesson.
Ah,
I
okay.
think like the process of recording pushed me to have vocal lesson because it was very challenging, vocally
Yeah,
speaking. Like you said, there was a lot of loud singing, I could say, and I kind of faced the limits of what I could do in recording. It was very long hour
yeah.
of a very straining
Straining, yeah.
vocal session, and I wanted to be able to give it my all every time.
You know, to that point of you sort of pushing yourself to the limit of what you can do, how do you think that's going to translate to playing these songs live when you go, right, I've kind of pushed myself to the limit vocally. How do you maintain your voice when it comes to actually performing, you know, night by night in shows and not wearing yourself out?
I must say that's something I'm quite stressed about because we didn't have as of now have this situation where when I have to like do 5 shows in a week, it was
Yeah.
like one shot at a time, so I could kind of let it all goes out without thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
But that's something that I'm kind of stressed about and anxious about, and I've tried to kind of kind of goes back a little bit of on on some note that I've hit in the records that I will
Yeah.
maybe not every time try to hit it. Training for my voice, and I don't want to lose the rest of the show just for one note, for one
Yeah.
note. So we have to find some kind of middle ground
Mm,
to still keep the tension of the record on live,
yeah.
but something that can still manage my voice.
Do you
So
have any?
it's a discussion with the band because sometimes that why don't you give it your all? And I said to them that if I give it my all for this song, you have no one for the next song, so you
Yeah.
have to take a choice at some point. And we try also to have the backup singers to kind of give it the energy
Yep.
that it lacks sometimes when I can not hit the high notes.
Yeah. I think it's probably natural for most bands that what they do live versus what they do in a recording isn't necessarily going to be kind of like precisely note for note. I guess, some bands are they have an approach where they want things to be exactly the same, but other bands are more improvisational. So I guess there's you have the choice amongst the band to decide how you want to modify things.
And I think that I can kind of put something else out there in life, maybe something a little bit less grandiose, but
Yeah.
maybe a little bit just what I can do at this time and a little more genuine in what I can
Yes.
do right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So I do not have an issue with this. It's fine. It doesn't bother me to not being able to hit those notes in live.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like I have limited singing experience, but I went through a phase where I had some singing lessons and it was from a classical teacher. So I learned some really valuable technique and I realized like, oh, I can like sing various high notes. And
Yeah,
then I started getting carried away, like trying to like write songs. I had like all kinds of crazy stuff. And then after a while, I realized this isn't really me. I'll just like accept the idea of like singing in a lower register, go for like more of like a Nick Cave, Mark Lanigan kind of like Leonard Cohen. Like you don't have
I
to be
see.
operatic, you can kind of
No,
be soulful, but sing in a very low register. I thought this is more me than trying to be like Aerosmith or something like that.
but to go back to what you asked me earlier about what we wanted to have a little bit more, how can I say it, like shouting, singing. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
right word, but it was something that we wanted as a band because we we listened to a lot of band with a lot more strenuous, a lot more, how can I say, a lot
Like kind of
more
gritty, sort of like rough sounding
this
vocals.
screamy vocal. I won't
Yeah.
say scream, but something that kind of goes to this direction. And so that's why, um, if you compare it to all the issues, all the songs,
Releases.
it's
Oh.
really, thank you. It's a little bit more shouted.
Mm.
And I really like it because I can kind of put all of my demons in it.
Mm-hmm.
And in live, in our shows, I can kind of out perform it, like an actor would do.
Mm.
With a lot of gesture, a lot of crazy looking stuff.
Yeah.
So it's something very very playful to have in a concert. Because I
Uh,
can kind of put all of my weirdest thought and feeling
yeah.
for the people.
Are you very demonstrative on stage? Like, do you like to turn it into a kind of like a very physical performance?
I try to be, but not over the top because I don't want to be some kind of a farce.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to kind of reach the right level of out there.
Yep.
And if does not come from a genuine place,
Mm.
it always feels fake to me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of trying to find the right place between completely out there and just standing still.
Yeah. And so when you're playing live, do you always play guitar as well, or do you sometimes just sing on stage?
No, now I play in every song. At the start, at the start of the band, I did not play every song, but now in all songs I play the guitar. Majorly and most of the time in the chorus part to
Mm.
have this kind of when the chorus
Yeah.
rise.
So you're doing more kind of rhythmic stuff with the guitar rather
Yeah,
than melodies.
yeah, yeah, totally. All of the leading parts is for the leading guitarist.
Yeah.
I've got enough on my plate.
Exactly. I always think that like it's hard enough from the performance side to sing and play guitar, but then the coordination of trying to play melodies and sing different melodies is hard too.
Yeah, it's something that my bandmates like to challenge me with that. They like to give me a guitar part that I cannot do even if I do not sing, and then tell me just deal with this. Just try to learn it and do it in live session. Just do it, and I just practice very. very hard, and I kind of like do it now. So I'm proud of me for this. But yeah, yeah, and because I also make music on my own with just
Hmm.
my voice and my guitar. I always practice the fact of playing and singing at the same time.
And in
But
terms
yes,
of
it's very hard.
the songwriting for Stuck in Motion, um, how much was that like people bringing sort of ready-made parts to the band versus sort of working stuff out together?
I think that's something that's quite interesting with our process is that no one, well, if someone brings like a little tiny bitty part of something, it
Mm.
always disappears in the final product.
Mm.
And we truly make all of the records together. Like every stuff is something that we have to debate on and compose together.
Yeah.
Except the lyrics, it's all me.
Yep.
Except the record with where my brother sing on it,
Yes.
Secret Song.
Yes.
I would like for the next one to be more of the band things,
Mm.
the lyrics part, because I don't want to be the only one to tell a story. I think that we have four different lives and four point of view, and I think it's a shame that we just only get to share mine.
Yeah.
So for the future, I would like for it to be worked at four piece as a four piece.
Yeah.
But
And in terms of like the lyric side of things and the storytelling, is there a particular sort of lyrical thread going through the album or like particular topics or themes that you find that you're most singing about?
I must say that there is not a happy song, not even one,
Mm.
because of course we are a rock band, so we cry every night. So the first track, Kenyan Further,
Hmm.
is when I wrote this song, I kept watching a documentary about the USSR story
Mm.
and how in the Iran war or Iraqi war, I don't remember, but
Mm.
they are sent soldiers, and when they came back, there was not a lot of love for them.
Mm.
I must say it was like the opposite. And so it's about this. It's about how we just send men for fights that are not their own,
Yep.
and that they're just paying for them. In French we say chair à canon, the same. And I was not expecting for this song to be so relevant today
Mm.
when I was writing it like 2 3 days ago. So it's kind of sad when I'm thinking about this song because I was not expecting it to be so relevant today with all
Yeah.
that's happening, now. So yeah, so there is this track and the second track, mine. It's talking about abusive relationship.
Mm.
It's the point of view of a stalker,
Yep.
like someone who chooses at random another someone in his life and chooses that this person is mine. From his point of view, he said, "This is mine."
Yep.
And so this is all about his mental state, kind of losing its grip on reality,
Mm.
and just like all his life is focusing on only one thing. This person that for him it is his.
Yeah. I think that might be my favorite track on the
Thank
album.
you.
It's very noirish. I really like the bass playing, and then you have these great harmonies on the song, and then it kind of builds into this soaring passage. That was also another one of the songs that stood out when I was thinking about the way the songs evolve. Like I can't remember if it was specifically mine or other tracks, but it's like you'll have a kind of a musical motif, and then the song will evolve, but the motif will still kind of be there as a little thread going back. And appreciate like, ooh, like I recognize something. The music's changed, but I recognize something
but
in
it's
there.
still
So
there.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that the artist tried to record was this one. Even in the composing process, there was this is the track with the most debating
Mm,
around it because it's very hard to do it justice when you
yeah.
play it. It's kind of very intricate balance of rhythm and nuances, and we were very proud of how we just put it. We just recorded it because it was one of the track where we have the most question about it,
Mm.
and I think that's one of maybe the best track on the record for me.
Yeah, well, as I
It,
say, it stood out. It stood out for me too. Did you, like you mentioned before, that you weren't entirely satisfied with the first EP, and so with the second one, you were trying to capture more of the sort of spirit of the band. Do you feel like you had quite a lot of pressure going into recording this album, of sort of the sense that you really wanted to be able to represent, you like give a good representation of what the band's actually about?
yeah, we had like 5 days to put it all in to and we did the vocals later and my guitar later. But the true core of the track was recorded in 5 days for the 6 tracks. And we never put so much money on the project
Yeah.
and so much time
Mm.
because I think that we recorded it last year, maybe something like that. And what can I say this? We had the record and then we had the music video and we kind of directed and produced everything. So it was very, very stressful and tiring. So we are very proud of what we did because we truly did it all on our own.
Yep.
So and I must say that at the end of this, we were kind of completely out. You just put so much energy out there,
Mm.
and now if you want to record to kind of do something, if you want to do something weird, you must put new energy out there just to play and to share it. We were kind of out out of it.
So did you you mentioned about having 5 days. Was that like partly a financial consideration? Like you figured out, okay, we can afford to
Yeah.
have 5 days of studio time, so this has got to be the time that we do it in.
Totally. Because we could have more days, but not in the studio as how could say this, as equipped
Yep.
as the one we get to record. It was truly a dream come true. It was kind of a gift that we offered to ourselves.
Yeah.
Was to be truly in the professional settings. Like we truly had a studio for professional recording with and we could stay for 5 days. We had to take like 4 hours for road hours to go to the place. So it
Right.
was
Okay.
so it's truly a moment in time, very
Yeah.
to put our dreams on in these records. But it
Yeah.
was it was very not sentimental, but it was very important for us this moment because if the band had to stop at some point or life happens. So it was like we can leave our work star dream for like 5 days.
Yeah. And so sticking on that topic of the costs and the that sort of pressure of making the album, one of the things that I'm interested in exploring on this podcast is the kind of practical requirements of making music. So thinking about that decision of, right, we're going to make an album, we're going to record it, we're going to mix it. I guess you sent it off to be mastered separately.
Yes, yes.
So how did you like figure out what the costs were going to be? How did you plan it all? And like, you don't necessarily, if you don't want to, you don't have to tell me like exactly what it cost, but kind of like roughly, what did you sort of have to invest between you to do this whole process of making an album and everything else that goes with it?
It's kind of fun that because when you are in a band, you learn that you need to be some you need to have like the competence of like five jobs. You need to be an accountant, a community manager, stuff like this. So we just like any content, we made a budget. We just ask the studio, the mixing engineer and the mastering engineer to give us their cost,
Hmm.
and we ask because we have a lot of chance of chance in France. You know, the country gives money for culture,
Hmm.
so we ask our county, I think
Hmm.
it's kind of something, give not give us give we have to make
I think we have a similar thing in the UK. It's like you kind of have to make a proposal and you
yes,
say,
thank you.
we have this art project. Would you give us some funding for it? And this is what we're going to
Thank
do.
you. That's it. It's terms that I do not use very often in English, so I have to search for them. But yeah, we have to ask for funding from our country, which was very generous from them. I think that we budgeted like everything from recording, mixing to the music video was like 14,000 euros. Yeah, that's it. I think we had like 8,000 of funding, and
Hmm.
the rest is from the band's own fund
Yeah.
because we never gain money from it, like personally.
Yeah.
From the get-go, we just all put it in the bank for the band.
Yes. You know, like I'm not going to ask you how old you are, but I'm pretty sure that
It's not an issue.
I'm pretty sure that I am older. Like I know that I'm from an earlier generation, and so like I was born in the very early '80s. But in terms of like the music that I grew up with, like when I was a teenager, when I was most sort of excited about music, it was in the '90s. So I can remember at the time, like I'd listen to the radio, I'd watch TV shows with music videos, and there were these bands that were pop stars or they were rock stars. Um, and I've sort of learned since then more about the music business. And I understand that, just because a band is on TV or just because they're on the radio, it doesn't mean that they're actually ultimately going to be financially well off. But it also does seem at the time that there was kind of more of a support system of like theoretically a support system of record labels. Whether or not they ultimately benefited the actual musicians is another question. But um, you obviously are growing up in a different country, so the circumstances will be somewhat different there. But then also now that you're of a different generation, I'm wondering when you were a teenager yourself, like when you were being inspired by music around you, did you have a particular kind of idea of like a dream of where you wanted to be able to go with music? And how does that compare to sort of your ideas or expectations now that you've got this album, you've got a band, you're touring, you're playing shows, you've got a little bit of momentum behind you. Where do you see this going, and how does that compare to what you might have thought in your teens?
Okay, so I have to think
That's a
about
bit
it.
of a convoluted question, so excuse me for that.
No worries. So to start off, when in my teens, I only listened to rock music, but like the classic one, like Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, like very 70s acid rock stuff.
Hmm.
And I was like completely thrown off by pop music.
Hmm.
And then in time, I kind of was very interested in pop music, like in pop star business, but in not for me, just like something that I found very interesting and intriguing.
Mm.
But I imagined myself to be a rock star or pop star. I think that none of our bands want this for their life.
Mm.
We truly, I think our dream is just to have one project that can guarantee us a way of life, a way of living, just nice and good, you know. Just like you have your little house and you can just do your simple life. But just that, even in independent music, it's very hard.
Yeah.
You just learn more and more about how hard it is. Even more if you just rely on one project.
Yeah.
I think now you truly need to have like 3 to 5 projects, maybe kind of. And we are lucky because in France, I don't know if you know about this, but we have kind of a different regime, work regime. When
Mm.
if you do like 55, 50, I don't remember exactly, 51 shows, you are secured 1 year after this when you will have monthly income for
Ah,
1 year. And so every year you can do the same thing, like 51 shows, and the year after you will have monthly income insured every month.
how interesting.
Yeah, I think it's something that only exists in France and in Belgium.
Mm.
So it's something that we truly, really cherish. Even if we think that it's something that we probably at some point will, I think that our government will try to suppress it or just erase it. But
Mm.
it's something that we truly are grateful for. And so it's truly something that we can reach, just live from our music.
Yeah.
But we still need to do like 51 shows where everyone can be paid. Because you need to have a minimum wage. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's some kind of 180 euros. Yeah, that per person
Mm-hmm.
to be able to say that that you had one show. And it's not something so easily done because like our tour and we started our tour and for the next tour date arriving, it's like I think we are paid like 200 or 100 euros for the band, for everyone in the band. So we cannot count those shows for the 51 shows that we need to have this monthly income.
And when you say you're paid, like that money you're talking about, that is like the state provided money that you get. So you play the 51 shows, and then after that, like, are you just paid regularly or you're paid when you play shows?
To be specific about this, when you gain your income when you do a show, half
Yep.
of it goes to the state,
Yep.
and after it is redistributed uh, based on how many shows you did in your year.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone do like 200 shows and someone do 51 shows, you
Mm.
will not have the same income.
Yep.
And that's it, I think.
So
Yeah.
the takings from the shows are taxed basically. You're paying a percentage to the government and then you're getting a certain amount back.
Yeah.
That's one interesting system. But so it sounds like there's a fair amount of pressure attached to that because if you play 49 or 50 shows in the year, you don't qualify. You have to go
Uh,
past this threshold.
yeah, but something that quite cool about this is you can do artist and technical. Just so if you do like 31 shows as an artist and
Mm.
like the rest as a technical engineer or
Mm.
just the road it's count the same. So a lot of musicians do like depending on their band they could do like 30 or 40 shows and the rest they will do in road jobs, road job, technical sound job and stuff like that.
This is very interesting. I'm learning something totally new here. And it's interesting as well because I've spoken to some other French bands before, but this specific thing never came up. So that's really, really interesting to know. So that kind of like feeds into what you were saying about the need to have not just one project but others. So it's like you take the opportunities to get the work experience, whether it's playing in a band or you have other projects or you're, you know, doing technical work behind the scenes. In terms of the band, between the four of you, aside from playing, um, I can't remember if I read about like who mixed it. Do you have like within the band that you've got sort of engineering experience between you?
So to mix our record, we wanted something that we could truly put our trust in.
Hmm.
And this man is called Michel Toledo.
Ah, yes, I wanted to bring him up because I saw that he was mentioned, so I was curious to know what his
So
involvement was.
he is the recording engineer and mixing engineer. And maybe you know this, but he did records for Les Strata and Psychotic Swans, very famous French band, I would say, in our indie scene.
Yeah.
And so it was truly, we were very lucky to be able to work with this man because to be to be truthful, it's because he's like kind of our neighbor, I think, like
Mm.
20 kilometers. But in music world,
Yeah.
he is our neighbor. So we had
Words
to,
like neighbor are quite relative.
so so we had the chance to work with someone with so much experience and so much, how can I say this, talent.
Mm.
He's truly a talented and experienced guy. So it was truly our luck to be able to work with him. And I think he truly did a tremendous job on our records. He really succeeded to push us above this limit that we'd never quite succeed to cross before.
Yeah.
To kind of put this energy that we only had in live settings.
Yeah, he kind of like brought more potential out of you that you didn't necessarily realize you had.
Yeah, truly.
Talking about particular potential, I think one of the tracks that I would like to highlight as well is the final track, Breaking Point, which has large passages of the song largely driven by your vocals, which are very powerful on that song as well. And I imagine that carrying a song like that with your vocals could be quite a vulnerable experience because you don't really have, the band playing around you. So was that a particular difficult song for you to play, to record, or to perform, or?
Yeah, you remind me that that's the only song where I kind of went in rehearsal with some kind of the start of the track. Like the lyrics were kind of already there and the melody. We kind of played a little bit with harmonies, but it's fascinating. It's fascinating, I think, because it's truly the track that I prefer to perform live
Hmm.
because it's something I've I don't know if it's weird, but when I'm on stage, I like to I want the people there to look at me and listen to me. So it's like a fight that I have with them,
Hmm.
and it just pushed me and pushed me to just brought it even better out of me. So this is the track that I think I like performing the most.
So it's like it's your signature track. It's the thing that
Yes,
you're, yeah.
because I'm allowed to shout out at people.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, no, that does make sense. So, thinking about the forthcoming release of the album, and so it does sound like that you are playing shows quite regularly. What have you got planned in the coming weeks in terms of promoting the album, whether on stage or by other means?
Our next the big, maybe our biggest gig of our tour is like two week and a half. It's our release party at the local venue here in Angoulême. It's called La Nef. And so we are releasing officially our records with two other bands from our city. Each one their own album to promote.
Hmm.
And we are quite happy that we have the chance to be filmed by national television.
Oh, cool.
National television because I don't know if you have this in England. You have like BBC and you have BBC London, BBC Glasgow.
Yeah, we have different regional
So we are filmed
arms.
by yeah, that's it. So we are filmed by the regional one, France 3 Nouvelle-Aquitaine. So and we will be broadcast in our region
Cool.
and we'll be able to see it online. So we are quite anxious about it, but very excited to
Yeah.
have the because it will truly be some kind of big setup. I think it's like 6 cameras or 7 camera with I don't know how to say it in English, but something with a cane with big
Yes.
cane a
Yeah,
group.
kind of like the camera being swept around over
Yeah,
different
that's it.
areas. Yeah.
Yeah. In French we call this a grue.
I can't remember what it is in English.
So yes, so we have this the 19th of October. Yeah, that's it. And afterwards we are playing in Bergerac in the local venue of this city. It's like next to Bordeaux, like
Hmm.
on the east of it. And we are playing with a band that is in the same tour agency as us,
Hmm.
a band called Wizard.
Hmm.
And we are also very excited for this gig.
I also meant to ask you, do you know a band called Matras?
Matras.
Yeah. I think they're from Bordeaux. I interviewed them, and you actually made me think of them earlier because you were mentioning the saxophone. They're sort of, I would say they're a little bit more on the metal side than than Dirty Shades are, but there are some sort of parallels there. And interestingly, the singer also plays saxophone, and she occasionally plays saxophone in their records. So when you brought up the saxophone, I thought, oh, that's an interesting coincidental parallel. But yeah, if you do see the name now, you can be like, oh yeah, that's
Oh
I
yeah,
mentioned that band.
that's the other singer who played saxophone.
Indeed. And so thinking about like the promotional side of things, so you mentioned about, being in a band, you sort of need to have five different roles that you play. So thinking about the kind of like marketing or the social media side of things, um, what is the band kind of doing when it comes to that side of the promotional sort of things?
It, it's funny because we're actually right in it. Like I have a discussion with my drum player just after this to talk about this. So just as I said, we have a release party like 19th of October, and for this we want to invite a lot of professional people in the music industry near us. So first of all, we need to like send email to all of those people, inviting them to come to see us, make and then we have to send another one like 5 days before to make sure that they come, and if they come, if they need something. So we need to do this, and then we just started trying to book our next tour. So we have
Mm.
to do this at the same times, and we have like an Excel sheet of like I don't know 500 email address. So it's very tiring stuff to do. There's like send 500 emails. It just takes so much time, and then we need to do video editing on our own.
Yeah.
Thankfully, me and the drum player kind of know how to deal with this. So we have to do this, and we are trying to do a video promotion on Instagram to for people to kind of start hearing about us and probably start following us or just coming to our show.
Mm.
Because even if you do not want to play in this game of social media, you just need to do it,
Yeah.
truly, because I think that the label company will not engage money if you don't have a prerequisite of a number of followers.
Yeah.
So it's you just need to think about a lot of stuff. that you never imagine when you were in your teenage years that you need to think about. Because
Yeah.
I think I will just need to compose a song in the woods with my friends. No, no, no. You just spend so much hours just in front of your computers and sending mails.
Yeah. It's the less
But
glamorous side of things. And in general, thinking about the best way for people to keep up to date with what the band's got going on with live dates, for example, is your Instagram page the best place for people to go?
yeah, we try to be very active on this. Even more in release time, we just I think we must post like one every week at minimum.
Yeah.
So we feel it very often.
And I guess as well on Bandcamp, you probably keep a list of the shows coming up there.
We we kind of do not do this on Bandcamp.
Okay.
I do it on Spotify,
Yep.
but Bandcamp not so much. I think that it's something that maybe we should, I know, work a little bit more with it because it's to be truthful, it's something that we'd never really get interested in.
Mm.
I don't know if it's a French thing or if it's just us, but I've never discovered. I do not have the reflex to go on Bandcamp to listen to someone music. I will. My first thing will probably be on YouTube
Yeah.
and then Spotify or Apple Music and then Instagram.
I mean, the good thing with Bandcamp is that you will actually get paid if people decide to download your music rather than just streaming it. Now, how much you get paid is another matter, but it's definitely more than you'll get paid for being played on Spotify.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But then almost anything is more than that.
Yeah, it's true.
But anyway, Anouk, it was great. Am I saying that correctly?
It's almost perfect.
Close enough for a British person.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time. It was great to talk to you. And yeah,
Thank you for your time.
it was my pleasure. Really enjoying the album. And yeah, I highly recommend people check it out. And I hope that you'll have a great release party. And I hope that I hope you have a great reception and that you easily reach your 51 dates for the year and then beyond.
Maybe.